Welcome to Cotman, Crawford, and the Jersey Guy podcast.
Yes.
Today's episode is a spur-of-the-moment jam session. We're diving into the magic of music in a streaming age and how bands become legendary, like truly legendary. Beatles, Nirvana, Pac,
Yes.
Biggie, you name it.
That's the shit right there.
Yeah. So, we're doing this episode. We're doing a live one. It's going to be a little different, as you can see, as you can not see. I am not in front of the camera. I'm behind the camera now.
Yeah.
So, because we're going to be doing an Instagram live. Oh, look, MC Yanks joined us. You know who that is?
What's up?
Your brother's there.
Yes.
We'll give
Who
him a
that
wave.
What's up?
How you doing?
Yes. So today's episode we said is music.
Yeah.
And rock and roll bands.
Everything.
The rock and roll bands that were back in the day.
Yeah.
Everything
So,
that
it's just, we're going to do an episode on music. We're going to talk about, streaming and how bands become legendary. It's just interesting.
No, we didn't have streaming when we were growing up.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Right. So we had the records and tapes and
So I figured the first part
then we got to this.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about streaming, right? So you can literally hear everything now, anywhere, every time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes.
And you know what? It's funny how we take these things for granted, right?
Yes.
We don't ever think it's like we're in the future now. We can just, we didn't, 20 years ago, imagine we were still either we had CDs, we had that giant booklet of CDs, or we had MP3s and all
in the
that.
car, under the seat.
Yeah, you had to burn MP3s.
Burning melted
my
CDs.
God. Yeah.
Well, so now if you think about it, how easy it is to find all those old songs. Because we couldn't find them on, like you started to say, Tom, you had to go out to find them, dig for them, literally in the crates.
Well,
you know?
right. You had to go to the record store or whatever. And if you were on the radio when you were making a tape or something,
Oh my God.
right, you would have to wait until the song said you timed it
now
out.
you're talking
yeah.
So you could
old
get
school.
Well, if there was any
mixtape.
mixes on like the BLS, KTU, So,
Exactly.
but now you
Remember
can get all that.
Remember
YouTube
that?
it. You can go on and someplace and
What'd you
just
say?
get it.
Remember
Your brother said, bro.
What up, yo? What's up, people?
So but think about that. You had to have all these booklets of CDs. Some people had them. Remember those? You had a multi-disc thing. It was in your console or
it
your
was
trunk
a whole,
or something
big
like
chunky
that.
thing. Put in 5 or 6 CDs in there, and then so it was towards the ending of the Benzie box.
Yeah.
Put it in
They
there.
would
and then
would rotate, right? Or
they would rotate
mix.
they would. You would pick which CD. CD 1, song 1 or 5
You
or
know
whatever.
what? I had the carousel. At
Yeah.
home, my home stereo.
Oh, at
was
home?
Yeah, the still in that spun, little
Come on.
carousel.
Still?
That
No, I had
he
that.
Had
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
Oh, I had it. We all had it.
Yeah,
No,
We
I
all
didn't
had
have
it.
that. No, I didn't have that. I had the book.
You had the book.
I had a CD book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cassettes. It was that long hard case
Oh my
sleeve
God.
thing.
Yeah, but
and
we
you
had
to-
you had the thing that
no
changed
for
the
the
CD.
car. I'm talking about for the car.
Oh, for the car.
Yeah, I used to carry the whole book. It was like a binder.
Oh yeah,
for
I had one too.
CDs.
I had a green one.
That was freaking
I had-
great.
I burned so many
great.
CDs. I had everything that I
Oh
wanted
my
to listen
God,
to in
that
there.
shit was so funny, man. Back in the day, and
Now you could just plug in your phone to the car and listen to what you want.
I remember I used to have so I was into the oldies, Johnny Master and the Brooklyn Bridge and stuff like that, way oldies.
Good stuff.
And you had to go and find them on either watching it on TV on an infomercial to be able to order it.
Right, 'cause time.
Or you would have to go and find some record store somewhere that was actually selling them.
Right.
Or with CDs and whatnot. Yeah, now just
CDs
blah,
are
blah,
like
blah, yeah.
They're archaic now. Nobody uses them anymore.
For frisbees, for target practice.
Yeah, and you know what though? See, it's funny how we've gone from that to now, you can have music everywhere.
Yeah.
You got Spotify,
Yes.
Apple Music, YouTube Music, and I use it's not as the popular one. I use Amazon Music because I got it. Because I have streaming anywhere in my house.
Right.
I have an Echo device in almost every room in my house, but you got that everywhere. You'd be like, Alexa, play this everywhere, and every single room of the house
Will turn on.
has the
That is
synced
funny
music.
as hell.
So I like that. But anyway, so the thing is you could be the thing is it starts learning the algorithm starts learning. your
Right.
taste
Oh
and
yeah,
your
it picks
heart
it up
music,
immediately.
you pick the music, and then I know I use Amazon Music. I know they have my soundtrack, but I'm sure I know Spotify probably has something. They might call it My Music or something like that.
Okay.
And then it'll play music that you like, and music that it thinks you might like based on
based on that sound, right?
on you liking or how.
Well,
many
don't they all do that? I
yeah,
mean,
but-
Pandora does that
Pandora
too.
does
Like
that.
if you like everything,
yeah.
Yep.
it comes up,
right.
and then
But I
it
like
kind of
how
goes in that direction.
with unlimited. Like I like that's unlimited service because you can pick any song you want at any
Yeah.
time. You know, it's
Right.
cool.
Well, like so, I listen to SoundCloud, and on SoundCloud, it's
SoundCloud's
full
good,
mixes,
Yeah,
especially
full
with the
mixes.
mixes. Yeah, the mixes.
And
are
it's like
ridiculous.
blends, DJ blends, like that club kind of shit. And you can pick when you start picking the kind of music, it'll the next list that it'll play.
Right.
And it's an hour long, somewhere an hour and a half, 2 hours long.
Yeah, the
whatever.
mixes are great,
it's
man.
Super long mixes, and you get into, like you said, that algorithm. I turned them on. I looked up freaking Teddy Pendergrass one time.
Yeah.
And I got everything Teddy Pendergrass, everything 70s,
Right.
everything 60s.
In
I was
that
like, oh
genre,
shit,
right.
yeah, that whole soul sound soul. It was freaking great, man. But yeah,
like
you're
for
right.
me, like I started getting into the cool thing is like, like in the past, like you had to like basically have like whatever like the radio and like MTV
Right,
dished
yeah.
out to you. But now people are starting to discover all these like indie artists and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And like even myself, like I started getting more into like dark synthwave.
Right. I remember you
And I
said
listen
that.
to
Yeah.
that stuff. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, I'm listening to 90s hip hop again.
Yeah.
Now I'm like into 90s hip hop
Yeah.
again. I kind of rediscovering it. It's a shame too, because like for me, like in the 90s, like I didn't listen to a lot of hip hop because I was
okay.
like, oh, I'm a metalhead,
Yeah, right.
Labels are important when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
Oh, I can't listen to hip hop. I'm a metalhead. And I was like pissed off. Now I'm like, this is really good music.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
missed
mean?
all that. Yeah, nah, bro.
But I
Listen.
miss
No,
it.
but
Now
see,
I
I-
got to rediscover it.
Yeah.
You know?
See, for me, I didn't have that. I listened to pretty much. There was so much that I heard growing up
Right.
between my parents, my family, just in general, what I was exposed to through them, and then what I listened to on the radio, and then of course the bands and the music that came out, Saturday Night Fever, and then we got into dancing, and everything started from there. And it was house music, like it was disco. They went nuts,
Yeah.
But there was so many branches, right? That's the great thing about music. It just something else can stem from it, and just boom.
Yeah, no, definitely, bro. Listen, I even now listening to a lot of Nifty Soul. Like there's this one girl, her name is Snow Allegra. I
Yeah.
started listening to her. Jill Scott, I'm in love with me, man.
Oh, yeah,
I love Jill Scott, but she's got that voice that just grabs me, and it's just freaking amazing, But like you said, you like it and you find it on all those
Right.
streaming
And
services.
then if you listen to
such.
that,
Yeah.
it'll find other artists that are similar to that genre that you're listening to. And that's how Pandora works for me because I have so many different stations. That's why I have that huge mix. I just
Do you
mix
have one
everything
say,
up.
or you played the shuffle?
Tanya's
the
on.
shuffle.
She said she shared the live with a few people.
Yes.
Thank
Tanya,
you.
Tanya.
What's up? No, shuffle.
Yeah, shuffle.
And I got
and good, all that
a
stuff.
list of stations,
Yeah.
so they all mix together, which is great.
Tanya said we should next time we do a live, we'll announce it. And by the way, guys, or people, folks, don't want to be gender specific, but like we're gonna try to do this like every other like week. You know what I mean? We're gonna try
we'll
to
try to come up with something.
If this
one of
works,
them get 'em done.
we
Yeah,
might
yes.
might
We
do
should
it
be
this
on
style.
Yeah.
Do live.
People can, tell us to shut up.
I'll be behind the mic. You
They're
don't
gonna
get
tell
to.
us to shut up.
I'm just kidding.
Hey,
They're like,
they
these
can't
guys
tell
suck,
us,
man.
They can't tell us. Whatever. So I spread
That's
the
cool.
word.
That's good to Tanya.
Spread the
That's
word.
cool. I like that, and then pass it along. But
Yeah, well, we'll see.
But
Because I
isn't
figured
music?
that was a good
I
time.
got a question about music though. Do you have a piece of music that you listen to, no matter when you hear it, it always makes you emotional?
Mhm.
Oh,
Like that one song that, and even if you haven't heard it for a long time or whatever, it just, and then for whatever reason, you
But-
just start to like.
I would
tear
say it's the
coming to your
people's song.
eye.
It's the song, and depending on when it is,
What
that'll
it
give me
is.
that.
That's true
You
too.
know what I mean?
What's going on
So
in
like,
your life?
at that moment,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Music
that
has a
gives
way
you
of
that, coming
sneaking
full
up on you
circle.
too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Like matter of fact, I was talking about how all the '70s protest music is relevant today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And on all levels of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
60s
just how the love songs, like the old school love song there, that they just, they all come back now. You're like, oh man,
When the
I love you, honey.
moon is in the seventh house,
Oh.
and Jupiter.
That is too funny.
But yeah, so
60s.
Yeah.
That was from
Yes.
Hair, by the way, which was a
Yeah.
musical back in the day. And then they made movies from it.
Yeah.
But that was a great soundtrack.
But what's cool too is the other thing is like
So-
a lot of these bands now are getting discovered, right? Like all these indie bands that don't have labels are getting discovered,
right.
and they're kind of making money without needing a record label.
Yeah.
It's all DIY stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely different from
Yeah.
when the bands back in the day when we were
Yeah.
growing up we were listening to. Those guys had put posters up. They went to clubs. They
Mm-hmm.
traveled. They
I mean, we were just talking. Don't forget in our first season, Eric was here,
Right.
and he talked about how he got very popular, and he actually got signed on a label after becoming popular from Spotify.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that's kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's the streaming. It's now you can't because
You have more exposure now.
exactly. That's the word.
Everybody has it now. It doesn't matter if you have the same as anybody else now that you can become famous. It could be anything.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy how that can happen.
Yep.
And we were talking about something. This is going to be kind of like the next topic on here, but like we were talking earlier, like bands like being legendary, right?
Legendary
and
bands.
I think the way I perceive like a legendary status is like, you know, when we were growing up, right? We weren't around. I don't know if you guys were around for the Beatles, right? No.
Yeah.
No. He was.
I
I
think
was.
you were.
Beatlemania.
Yeah.
Well,
when it first came out in Broadway.
Yeah. But like, you know, like I
hilarious.
grew up like
did.
they
Sat
were
in front row,
already
too.
like, you know, but like, and then like, you know, it's the fact that like bands like become famous and then like they gain new fans after
Yeah.
they're gone and
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
longer
Years
in
later.
existence.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now
right.
we're seeing that kind of happen.
Yeah.
With like Nirvana.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Gen Z like kids that are like
Yeah.
into Nirvana. I say kids. They're adults.
But they are
I
kids,
know,
bro,
I know,
'cause you know what I mean?
I think
I
so.
hate to be that because, you know, I was like, I hate when people call me
But I
kids.
think
when I was
certain
like, I'm
bands
still
have
fucking
that-
19. Don't call me a
Sorry,
kid. But,
sorry.
you know,
Yeah.
Certain bands have that
Yeah.
ability, though, to
Yeah.
be able to jump to the next generation because their music is timeless almost,
Yeah.
really, when you think about it. Certain things they may have done or sung or albums or whatever at the time. Albums. Right? So, yeah, like Zeppelin, the Stones, The Who,
Yep.
right?
Even Ozzy, bro. Think of how Ozzy.
Well, yeah, and
made
as
a
you go through the
comeback.
years, right? The Beatles,
Yeah.
And the same
Kiss.
thing, like Tupac and Biggie, people are
Yep,
still finding.
the hip hop.
Tribe
altogether.
Called
Right.
Quest, people
Yeah.
are finding. Like
Yep.
all that music is
Yep.
like starting to people
Freestyle music, you
rediscovering
know,
all this.
Judy Torres, you know,
Yeah.
Noel, like those are things too. House music, bro. They're using the old school house beats
And then
for
mixing
some
it
of
with
the-
other
but-
stuff, yeah.
And it's like holy frioli's, like shit. That's freaking awesome. You know,
Yeah.
I remember that beat. I remember that beat.
Frank was doing some stuff for me the other day. He sent me some stuff, mixes that he was doing with present time stuff,
Yes.
with old school music.
Yep. Yeah.
And mixing it that way, and it was good stuff. Yeah, they were really good mixes.
A friend of mine
DJ's
does
pretty
that.
good.
DJ Rob V.
Pretty well, I
from-
should say, because I don't want to hear no
Orange
shit from him.
but
I-
they do that where they taking those old songs and then just putting like the music like you said,
Right.
and new people singing on them. Some of them probably shouldn't be, but there's some other ones that sound pretty good, man.
What do you mean, people who are making up their own music?
No,
and
no,
singing, or-
it's just like they're not redoing the song. They just their
Singing
own
along with
words
it?
on their own words.
See,
and-
I'm wishy-washy with that sometimes, though. Even through the years when they've done that, there've been songs where people use other people's music and put their own lyrics to it.
Right.
Some worked out real well, and there were others that you were like, you should have left it alone. It was
Right.
fine the way it was before
Yeah.
you mess with it. kind of thing.
Definitely.
Some people redo the song, right? Like there's remakes.
Right. Yep.
Like when you think about the Beatles, right? Joe Cocker did.
Yeah.
What was the song? What would you do? What would you do
if I
Oh,
sang at a
yes.
sing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
song?
Right. And his
Right?
was
And that
better.
song
And the
became
Beatles
more
did that, right?
popular.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club
Right.
Band, right?
Yes.
And then he came along. He said, "All right, I'm going to do it different." He put a different twist on it,
Yeah.
And
his
his
was the
song
and
hit.
it was freaking phenomenal.
And
you
then,
know?
when they put it into the Wonder Years.
Yeah,
song,
Wonder
man,
Years.
Yeah,
Yeah, see,
great
I was
song,
gonna
man.
say that. I don't want
Yeah.
to be like the only one that watched that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
too old
music
for that.
for us is ingrained because think about the generations before us that as it passed on,
Yep.
our parents from their parents, and then they passed it on to us stuff that we listened to. Like I remember driving in a car. We had a Dodge Dart. Lived in Brooklyn, New York. My mother always had the radio on, and I loved listening to the music all the time. Man, I just loved it. You know.
Yeah.
And I jumped all the time. I didn't. Well, my mother always kept it on one station usually.
Right.
But if it was home and I had my own stereo, I was usually looking
Yeah.
for something else that I can play
Yeah.
or you know.
Yeah, we
instead
listen to a
of
lot of
listening
salsa, a lot of Latin too. And it's crazy because now a lot of these guys are redoing or just using the same
Right.
music because it was such a hit. It was that catchy, you know. When you there's some stuff now like Bad Bunny. Yeah, I like this album that he just did.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's a good album. But I said it's that salsa sound, and it's like, that's where I'm at. A lot of that stuff, man. It's
as long as they do it right.
right. Yes,
And they don't-
exactly.
Like, you know, we've heard some remakes and we're like, yeah, no, that's not good. You're never going to hear it again. If it does well, usually it'll be on the radio. Like Zeppelin's, not Zeppelin, Van Halen's done it.
Yeah.
They've done a couple, right?
Right.
You Really Got Me Now? You Really Got Me
Yeah.
Now, which was from the Kinks, I believe, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're
so
right.
they redid it, you know, and that they did that was an awesome job.
Yeah,
They were able to get away with it, especially
Yeah.
with Van Halen with the guitars. Phenomenal.
yeah. There
Can't
are
beat
a
that.
lot of songs, a lot of things. Like I said, I love music. You know, music I think is a great way to communicate with people. You know, to
Yeah.
soothe the savage beast. You know,
With the savage.
yeah. Because those listen, think about it. You listen
good
to
release.
when you were in a funky place. and you listen to the song and you had the right song, bro, you're like, I'm feeling good now. I'm better.
You ever
okay.
have that one song that you just start fucking dancing? You're just like, boom, boom,
Yeah, bro.
up and down.
Yeah, there's a
bump,
couple,
bump,
bro.
bump,
House music.
bump. Yeah,
House
yeah,
music and salsa music makes me really, I'm like,
I almost saw it. Like, well, I do it with reggae too.
Reggae?
Like the
Yeah.
Bob Marley.
yeah.
I love it.
Nah. I do the 80s and 90s reggae, you know. Used to have fun with those. Yeah, miss those days for that. You know what I mean?
Speaking of, you put Tribe Called Quest on, you put Here We Go,
Dude,
yo.
yeah,
Here
right.
we
You gotta
go,
bounce
yo.
to that one, yeah.
So what's the scenario?
Hey, yo, Bo knows this.
Bo knows that.
What?
But Bo knows Jack.
Sorry, Bo can't rap. Yeah, yeah. Benita Applebond. Yeah, just Tribe Called Quest. A lot of that hip hop stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And they also, but see, now they took music. They took, soul. They took old school love songs. Wu Tang. They took a bunch of like out of karate movies and had that sound and put their rap music on there. You know what I mean? All that hip hop I think hip hop took music to a new. Well, we know it did. It took it to just a whole different place.
And then it went in another direction. Right.
And
Like it just, that's how it is.
It just went so wild, you know what I mean? And they brought back a lot of celebrities, a lot of old music, that they brought back. Oh, man.
Wasn't it Ice-T and Eminem? Didn't they do something together? Or was it,
Dr. Dre.
Was it
Well, they've done a lot of stuff
Yeah,
together.
a bunch of stuff. Yeah, and
But I mean,
they just did something new together,
He actually
though.
sang with them, I think.
Oh, I don't know. You might be right. I'm not even sure. Nirvana, a lot of their beats
Oh, I love Nirvana.
came from.
Oh, yeah. You see that video where Dave Grohl said that he told the
He said
guy.
he got it where he got from. He got it from
Rubber on
disco.
Me.
Yeah, he got a lot of the drum beats
from
from
that.
disco music.
Yep.
Like that was just one. And
Or from funk music. Yeah.
I was like, no way. And then when he did it, and because Pharrell
You
was
dropped
interviewing
the
him.
bomb on me,
Yeah. Like, what?
baby.
He even shows an example of what song it was. It was like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wasn't it Teen Spirit?
like-
Yeah.
But what I
But
loved
I
about
forget
the
what
whole-
song it was, though,
Yeah,
that he
it was
ripped
great.
it from.
Yeah.
But that's what I loved about that though, that he was honest about it and said, "Hey, I was influenced by this
There's
certain
nothing
thing.
wrong
I
to
knew
say
it would work
about
in
it."
this particular song, and that's
People should
no
be.
ego, man. That's awesome.
Everybody's inspired by music.
have to
Your
be. Where else are you
music
gonna get it?
is inspired from other people's music.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You don't just
Absolutely.
like, I came up with this new
Yeah,
sound
no,
that I never
right.
heard of ever.
Now, you see, I will say this because when we had our episode on music before, and we had Arik on here, I asked him that there was somebody that I had seen in an interview many moons ago, and they said there's no new music. There's nothing new that anybody could sit there and make. And he says, not true.
Not true.
Yeah.
And after he said that is when it woke me up like, oh, dude, you're right. Because there are things that we didn't even know was the same song. You know what I mean? And they just changed
that's what
how
I'm
they
saying.
just...
Right.
If you sing a song and then I sing the song that you sung, it's going to be different.
Yeah, because your tone is different than mine. Like mine, you won't know.
My
Like,
voice
You can
is
try to
different.
do as close as
Yeah.
as close as possible. Like if you're gonna remake the song,
Unless I'm trying
put a
to
different
be
style
a
to it,
cover
but-
band and try to sound exactly
Well,
the
right,
same.
but still, even then,
Right.
they still
Yeah.
sound a little bit, a little bit different because they still get their little bit
Right,
like,
right.
doom.
But it's still cool if the band is good and you're at a bar and they do cover it well.
Yeah,
You don't mind so much, and you get into it. You hang out with friends, do a couple of shots. One
right.
thing, next
Yeah,
thing
it's
you
a
know,
thing. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, I
one thing
get
leads
it.
to another.
Yeah, that's the shit, bro. Music is awesome. I love music.
Hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
please beat up your mic over there.
Yeah.
It's all right.
That happens every once in a while. People,
But-
goes out.
Yeah, back to like what we were talking about with like streaming services, right? It's interesting because like you could be like, you don't have to like, first of all, you don't have to like dig through like record stores to
Yes.
find music that you want. I mean,
Just put it in the search engine.
it
and
does
find
kind
it.
of,
Right.
You can still do it. There are record shops out
there are
there. and
still
everything
old
to do.
school record
Well,
stores.
they've come
Compelling.
back.
They've come
Yeah,
back.
and
Because there's something, there's that human element that's missing of
Yeah.
just looking through with your hands and
Right.
Yeah.
touching it. But you don't have to now. You can find any music you want.
on wherever.
Yeah,
Time, you
like
know?
my sister
great.
Kendra, she's
But
got a
the-
record player. And
Yeah.
like she just bought one recently.
Right.
Well, not around like the last 5 years or so,
Right.
maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, they
And-
sell them now.
But she makes me laugh because she's like, "Remember this album? Remember that album?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, oh, dude."
But what I love is how it suggests music still. So like if you're listening to like, say you're listening to like Kendrick Lamar, you might get a Nas throwback.
Right.
Or
yes.
if you're, you listen to Billie Eilish, you might get
Billie
a
Eilish. I
Portage
love her, man.
might
She's
slip
great.
in.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
You know
Billie
what?
Eilish
yeah.
is great. See,
Because
now
it's similar
look at her-
music. You
right,
know
but
what I mean?
look at her style, Billie Eilish.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
different,
yeah,
but
yeah.
her
Yep.
voice is
Yeah.
it's unique.
Yes.
She has a good style and everything. And by the way,
Yeah.
Super talented, right?
Okay.
And she has Tourette's.
Oh yeah,
Who does?
Billie Eilish.
Oh, yeah, I
she
heard
gets
that. Yeah,
tics.
yeah,
And I was watching her do an interview with, I think
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
oh God, David Letterman.
Uh-huh.
And he was, but they're not on the show, but he was doing a one-on-one, and she had one with him while she was,
Yeah.
while he was interviewing her. He was like, oh, she said, I thought that was just, she's like, no, I just had a tick, like, but she was so, she didn't allow it to, like, she just,
It was
it's
she
part
didn't
of
make
her
it like a weird
persona, who
thing,
she
yeah.
is.
Right.
She accepted it, and and you could hear it too, because in her music, it's very, you get a lot from what she's saying emotionally, and not just for the words as well. It's just good. I like her style. She's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good ones now. There are a lot of ones now, but so here we are, and we've been speaking on like music that we know from when we've grown up and what we would consider legends and such. What makes the legend though? Is it just the people, the loudest? I guess you say genre at that time.
I think every one is different. They're legend for their thing, for the thing that they stand out for.
Like so, then who is more?
For their,
okay, so like say with the Beatles, what soul singer or group was just as famous? You know what I mean? Only
there were a lot of groups back then that were famous. I mean,
so then why was it that we didn't hear? Like right now, I can't say, oh my God, so and so was out at the same time the Beatles were.
The Stones were out.
What made them?
Led Zeppelin was coming out later on. They all competed against one. Then there were other bands too, of course. I mean, now I can't think of them, but there was a lot of stuff going on. The Monkeys.
Hey, we're the Monkeys.
But that was supposed to be
right.
But I mean, they eventually,
But people sometimes like their music.
Yeah. The Partridge Family. They're in my freaking.
But I think each one is different. Like the Stones have their thing. They have a unique
wasn't
style,
meant to sell albums, but it people end up listening to it.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
those songs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. You said the Stones.
Like each band has their own unique style, right?
Right.
Like Led Zeppelin, you got Robert Plant, you got an unbelievable drummer, lead sing, guitarist, Jimmy Page, and then you have other bands like you got the Stones, you have Mick Jagger, and Keith Richards, and each one contribute. They all at that time, that's what they did, that chemistry, everything they had, like for whatever it was, and the music that they wrote. And then you have bands like later on that came along who were more like the Who was like crazy. They were good.
Yeah.
Then as you go into the 70s, Kiss with their
Kiss,
theatrics and everything, and the music and everything,
Yep. And they changed rock and roll.
They changed a lot of different things,
that.
But I think each one of them did though. Like Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5. We can go through every one of them. Then it just the things that are around today is because of all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much great music.
I think at least it should be.
Yeah. That it does. It strikes that nerve. It makes you think. It makes you feel. So you get that. You said the tearjerker, and
I turn that radio on every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every day.
What gets you most hyped up in the morning? Like, do you listen to? Because you drive.
Yeah.
You got a long ride. So, like, what gets you hyped up, or is it just depending on how you woke up?
You know what? I do have like certain things I like to listen to.
Yeah.
Some of it's dark wave, and some of it's hip hop. But like a dark wave, I like listening to. What was that? Boy Harsher is pretty good.
But
they're
now
a little more up.
So is that like your go-to song in the morning when you just you need that motivation?
And I like Wu-Tang Clan.
Hey, see, exactly, dude. Wu-Tang is, man, forget about it.
Yeah.
Listen, people they don't get what I'm saying, but Wu-Tang is they're the hip hop version of Kiss because they marketed their name.
Why can't I think of the name of the song? Because you know what I get
I just leave whatever's on the radio at the time. If not, I just hit the other station. I can just forward. Like I have satellite radio, so I channel set already. And I just go through my channels.
Dude, I'm 3 seconds from my house. So I don't even get a chance to like listen to a whole song.
I listen to Protect Your Neck.
Okay. Protect your neck. You got to protect your neck. Yeah.
Thank God.
Wu-Tang. Yeah.
Straight out of Compton. That was
straight out of Compton. You're singing that today.
Yeah.
That's freaking hilarious, man.
Yeah.
You should be Ice Cube for
Halloween. Halloween.
Yeah. Walk on the block. To the Compton. Yes, that would be hilarious, bro. Oh my God. Yeah, but like I said, like for me, the music that gets me hyped up, like if I'm at work, is I'll listen to the freestyle and then blend into house music.
Oh yeah. You guys,
like that'll be music, that. Yeah. That'll start getting me hyped up at work. And
for sure. I'll do that. Like if I go out and do the mow the lawn, I'll have my headphones on. Usually I just leave the shuffle on, but if a good song comes on, and you start rocking to, you just freaking
then you start getting
plowing
into
through it.
Yeah, and how many of the songs that play? So let's say if we're listening to Pandora, or even like you said on Spotify, songs play. How many of the songs in your playlist or in your algorithm? How many songs do you know the words to?
Oh God, so many.
Because I'm sitting there, I go, I
It's
do
crazy.
So many.
I go and I'm singing
Right.
to myself, and I'm like, holy shit! I go from hip hop to
Right.
oldies to Metallica to
Neil Diamond,
Teddy Pendergrass, and come all the way back
Luther.
around and hit up. I said Partridge Family,
Right.
Luther, bro, Luther's. Forget
Luther.
about it. Luther Vandross.
Absolutely,
It's-
Luther
it's
Vandross, for
hilarious,
sure.
man.
It's pretty funny. The more you listen to the song, the better you get at the timing too and the pitch. You could actually like sing
Yeah.
the song.
Marvin Gaye, Diana
Yeah.
Ross.
But see, I won't sing karaoke. Lou sings good karaoke.
Oh, karaoke.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna
I
do
do
karaoke.
it once in a while.
No.
I just did it actually not too long ago with
You
a
know
wedding.
where-
We
you
went
know
to
it's
a
a
wedding.
fun
my
place
wife
to
had
go
me
to
get
if
up
you
and
ever
do it.
go. It would be fun. We
Billy
should go
Joel.
there. We
How
should
can we
go
forget
Oh,
about
Billy
him?
Joel,
Billy
that's
Joel's
your
like
boy
the
right there.
master, man.
You know- Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You know, it's a fun place.
Bruce Springsteen.
St. Mark's Place. Place called Sing Sing Karaoke.
No way.
You rent a private room, and the waiter brings you drinks to the private room, and you got the karaoke, and it's like couches and stuff. It's
Right,
pretty
yeah.
Cool.
That's hilarious.
That's nice. I like
Is
to
it
do
in the
that.
city or in Jersey?
St. Mark's Place. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
you can go hang out with your friends in there and do
Yeah,
that.
I've
just in
done
your
that.
own
I mean,
private room. It's not
this
a-
is years ago. I'm assuming it's still there.
Yeah.
That was a popular
That'd be a cool thing to
place.
do, man.
I don't, but COVID could
Never
kill
gonna have to
them.
look
You never
this-
know, but who knows?
Yeah.
Killed a lot of businesses
Sure,
then.
sure. I
But
don't know.
I don't know. I have to look it up. That was a cool place
I
to
think
go to.
people are still doing it regardless
Oh,
now.
yeah, people doing karaoke still.
Yeah.
They're doing, you know, it's
But I mean, it
it's
might have
different.
killed them. During that time, a lot of businesses.
I'm sure.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, it's
It
like
did a lot of things, right? There was a
Yeah.
lot of things that you just.
yeah, it's hookah and karaoke now. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is.
Right.
Some hookah and the
Hookah
karaoke.
and karaoke.
Yeah, everybody sitting there. Yeah.
I got you, hookah. I
Yeah.
never did any of that.
No. But it's a thing, bro.
Kobe.
Bowling's always fun.
Bowling and karaoke.
Excuse me, with music. You go to
Karaoke,
bowling
bro.
alley and it's
Yeah, bro.
and you're hanging out and it's like one of
Mhm.
those the nights where they have the crazy with the lights and shit. And you got the
Uh-huh.
music playing. You have a couple
Yeah.
beers and hanging out.
Madison Square Garden used to have a bowling alley
I remember.
that they
remember.
they used to do that. Go in, they would open till like 2 a.m, bro. And they would do
They
that.
had one at the mall, but they closed it. It doesn't do it anymore. The one in the Palisades. Remember? I think it's
It's
I don't think
closed?
Is it there anymore? The bowling alley in the Palisades? They closed that.
They closed it.
They did
yeah,
close
yeah,
that.
it didn't do well.
because it's sinking, so the
Oh.
lanes are
The
like
lanes are-
the lanes are all
Yeah,
warped
everything's
up and
sinking in
stuff.
that building. Yeah. I think
That's
they're
messed
gonna
up.
close that thing soon anyway. man.
No.
Yeah.
I love that place,
I
bro.
think they're gonna.
I love going there. Wife hates going there with me.
It's
Stop building on landfills.
Yeah, well, yeah. Listen, so many
yeah,
places.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a big building.
Yeah, it is. Hell yeah. But yeah, man, I tell you, I mean, like you said before, just the way the music has evolved, streaming services, people becoming famous on streaming services without having to sign with a label. Chance
That's
the
the
Rapper.
coolest.
That's how he got that kind
Yeah.
of famous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chance. That's a perfect
Mhm.
example.
Yeah, because he did nothing. Matter of fact, I don't even think
A lot of
still,
people
he's
are
still
doing
not.
it.
He's not on a label. He's still not on a label. He's on The Voice now. Well, he was not now. He was on The Voice. But
Well, look what the what do you call it? Social media does. Like you
Mhm.
get what's his Jake Paul, right? He boxing and all that.
yeah,
Shit.
punk ass.
Look, right, but look what it did for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. It
Yeah.
was able to put him in a genre that normally that wouldn't happen that way. You know, that's not how it usually happens. But in today's world, you
Yeah.
know,
But that's
if you're
a
on
lot of
social media
people.
and you do that stuff, then what about the young girl who's on there? Oh God, I remember the one with the Tourette's. Now she has her own
Oh,
TV
yeah.
show,
Yeah.
which I love her. She's
Mhm.
Ted, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I apologize. But we do follow you on our Instagram, so and everything else. But she's great, and in the fact that she was able to tell her story and do that, and social media was able to do that for her
Yeah.
because she was on it all the time. She
Right. That's what music does. That's
And
how
that's what
music
music
has
is,
gotten
yeah.
around. You're
and
right.
people are able to do their own music now. Like I noticed, Gene
Yes,
Simmons
yes,
from
that's
Kiss,
what
his
I'm talking
son is actually been doing a few things as well. Like he has a friend he sits and they play guitar and he
I
does
saw
vocals
that.
to
Yeah.
different to songs that
Mhm.
you've heard before.
Yep.
You know, I think he did Simon and Garfunkel once, and there was another one. But
Mhm.
but that's what I'm saying. You could get on there and just start, and you could put it out to everybody.
Yeah.
and they can see it, and then who knows? You never know. Somebody might say, "Hey, that's a pretty good idea."
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's a lot of them.
Yeah.
They have. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You first.
No, and it's just interesting how it's democratized now. There's no, because there's no it's not like the record labels are controlling the music flow anymore.
No,
Right,
It
they
really
can't.
took a lot of power
No,
away
yeah.
from them when you think about
And
it.
that's good because now there's more discovery in music, and
Mhm.
older music's becoming discovered.
Yeah.
You share stuff with your friends.
Yeah.
I don't use Spotify, but I found out that I might be able to switch to Spotify actually because I found out you can use Spotify on Amazon you don't have to use their music anymore.
You could
which-
play you could play your
I didn't know
Pandora
that.
right on Alexa if you want.
Anyway, okay. But anyway, so what was I gonna say? Where was I going with that?
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. But like, yeah, so like you can, and not only that, like music, because of that, like people are starting to like TikTok, like people are discovering artists through TikTok videos because TikTok videos get popular.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same thing
There's
with
like, and you can do almost anything on there.
Mm-hmm.
and like even like, I mean, obviously the movie blew up, but like they brought back Kate Bush's song, from the Stranger Things show.
Oh right, yeah.
And then it blew up even more.
Yeah.
Because people started using it on TikTok. and
Yep.
it just
Right.
blew
Right, it just
up.
takes a life of its own, and it just freaking
And
goes.
same thing, like a lot of artists are getting famous, like that song "Astronaut in the Ocean." That became
Yes.
famous from tech. People were using that video for like
Yep.
so many things in like 2000, 2021.
Really?
That they got famous from that.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's insane. So, and that's why I think why music has changed so much, has been able to change. There's a few people that do it on social media that they sit, these musicians, they sit out on the sidewalk somewhere. They have a whole setup at the, set up keyboard and whatnot and record. And then they'll have people come up and they'll say, all right, tell me a beat and give me this and say this. And they'll do and, make a whole song. Way back in the day on the Cosby Show,
Right.
Stevie Wonder was on.
I remember that. Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
had the family go into the studio with
Right,
him.
right.
And said,
They made a thing out of it.
Yeah,
Is that what the song he's saying? Yeah.
And he's like, everybody had something to say.
Yeah.
Jam on the one, jam on the one. And that's what Stevie Wonder was
Right,
doing.
yeah.
And that's what people are doing now, where that's where they're getting new music, where what's making them famous.
right.
For just making it, for writing songs on the fly.
Right.
I know Richie did that a long time ago with Barbara Walters. She was interviewing him, and he says, "I can."
It's just amazing to kind of have that kind of talent
Yeah,
to do that.
And people, I don't know what it is in the water right now, but people are that kind of gifted to be able to do that. More people are doing that now, I should say.
I like the things where when you see the videos on social media where you find a guy, he's in a busy hall or something where there's a piano and he's playing or whatever. And then this kid comes over and says, "Hey, can I play with you?" And they got a violin or they got some other instrument, or they sing or whatever, and it's like it blows your mind. It's like, hell, man.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Teddy Sims does that. He's walking around and whatnot, and then there'll be somebody that he's heard of that is singing his song. And then he'll just come over and sneak up behind them and then just start singing with them.
Oh, that's great.
I lose control. And then people are like, and then they start singing together. Yo, it's freaking great because they have a moment like, oh, shit, he's really here.
Right.
That
would freak me
That
out.
would
man.
be like,
Yeah, it is. But it's so cool but see, I like that song. So
That's a
for
great
me, when
song.
people are
But
doing it.
if you listen to his, because I have him on my Pandora, so I like whatever he's singing. He's got more. There's a few of them that are really good.
Yep,
That he
and
has.
his songs are different.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
personal, you could tell there's a lot of personal
Yeah.
there's stuff in there that he's
Yeah.
He's talking about. What's
that reminds me. I remember seeing a video, like a world famous like violinist
Mm-hmm.
decided to like go to one of the stations.
Oh, I read that.
and like played.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
and people didn't even know it was him.
Yeah.
And he made
Like
money
literally
too.
people pay like a lot of money to go
And
see
he did
him,
it
and he
for
just
nothing
did
right
it for
there,
free
just
on
came
the
up there.
subway.
No,
Yeah.
but no, people put money.
And
in
that's
this thing.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but they didn't know who he was. They put
Right.
money
Yeah.
in, but they thought he was
Right.
just like
Some regular guy, from some guy that's just trying to make a couple of dollars.
And that's honestly, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think that's like real art is people who play on the street.
Who can share their
play
music.
music because they're not
Rather
doing it
than-
for
Yeah.
money.
Right.
I'm not saying people who make money aren't
No,
doing it
right.
because-
I know what you
for-
mean.
out of passion, but
Right.
like that's like
But that's
No,
how
but
a
it's
lot
good
of
that
people.
they could share it. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going home from work. Let me
Right.
bust out my
Yeah.
violin or whatever
Yeah.
and just start sharing this with people.
Well, a lot of people. I think that's the thing too.
Yeah.
It's not everybody's going to get famous doing that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, bands, a lot of artists in the beginning, they just wanted to stay underground. They didn't want to do that crossover. Think of how many rock bands back in the day, like Metallica. Metallica went through that, that they started to do a little bit more commercial stuff, and people calling them sellouts, and the Black Album sucked, and yada yada yada.
remember
Meanwhile, you know what I mean? It was like
They're gonna
those
be
are great
they're gonna
albums.
be in London too, I think.
Yeah, they're
When they
gonna
do
be
it
because yes.
I mean, they're a band that
Ozfest.
they've always changed. their
Yeah, they
sound.
are, and they're
Like,
freaking
they always
awesome,
change
bro.
their sound.
They were. Listen, I love
they show a
Metallica.
video that's
Yeah, yeah.
going on all over social media.
Yeah.
Them in concert in Russia,
Yes,
and you see all the people
Yeah.
that are out there.
that
They're
famous
in
concert they
uniforms
went
and
to.
everything, and they're playing. What do you call it?
Enter
Sandman.
Sandman, yeah.
Enter Sandman, and they're jamming, man.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's rocking. That place is rocking, man.
And everybody knows the words. I think that's what makes you a legend, bro. When people from different countries don't even know, they don't even speak the language.
That's not your first, and they know the words.
And they know the words, you know? Like, see, so I'm going to make
A lot
it
of bands
funny.
are like that.
So David Hasselhoff is a legend.
in Germany.
You know what I'm saying? You know? Meanwhile, for us, you know, I don't know anybody, honestly.
What about the other way around?
Uh-oh.
Where like
We sing their song?
like
Yeah.
du hast.
No.
Du hast.
Oh, there you go. I was say
Rammstein?
99 Luftballons.
Or
Oh,
Open Gangnam
99.
Style.
No, man. Forget it. No, that's not legendary.
I know.
That's,
I know, but we all
freaking-
we all
Listen,
do the
these
words.
bands-
Oh, that's wedding music.
these people,
Yeah,
they
we
travel
all know
all
the
over the
word.
world, though.
Yeah,
So, you know, a lot of countries are going to like them. You know,
definitely.
a lot of these bands are going to go
Definitely.
and they're going to love them.
It's freaking hilarious, man. But I think that's probably what has to make you put you in that legendary category. When people from other countries are singing your music
And your albums are
they don't
going
even
platinum.
speak and they don't speak the language. You know what I mean?
So that's the criteria,
I
and then
think
number
so.
2 is another generation picks up your music,
And your albums
after
all
you're-
went platinum, too.
Yeah.
after you've
Well,
already gained fame.
that means a
Or I
lot.
mean, you could
But
still
see,
be
Green
after
Flame,
you've
I'm gonna
already
tell you.
gained fame. Yeah,
I don't know, but see, I don't go by those by the albums. I'm
multiple.
gonna tell you why.
But hang,
Go ahead.
you should. Because when you listen to bands like Kiss and Led Zeppelin and all those guys got all those. Those meant
Now-
something for the time that those guys got.
Yes.
Those things were awesome to get. Because when you're getting a platinum, that
Okay.
means that's how many you sold.
Yeah.
It was worldwide. It wasn't just Kiss was known all over the world. Led Zeppelin was Beatles.
Yeah.
On and on and on.
I
Those
get
guys,
it. That makes sense. I
that-
hear you. I give you
know
that
what?
one.
Those guys love those
Well-
things. Like when they wanted to go to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, nobody really considers it. You know,
Right.
so for them, the platinum albums are better
I'll
than
give-
that bullshit.
I'll give
Yeah.
you
The
an
way they look at
example.
it.
Like
Or gold albums,
I'll give you an
too.
example.
Yeah.
Like you got like Metallica,
Right.
and you got Guns N' Roses,
Mm-hmm.
and what are other bands that are still
That are still
that's
rocking.
still yeah. But
Oh.
I'm saying, okay, or
The
well, they
Who's
just
gonna-
retired, but like
The
Kiss,
Who, right?
But
Kiss,
Kiss,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
But like
Who?
what I'm saying is when you guys went to Kiss concerts,
Mhm.
right? You see people of all ages.
Oh
there.
yeah.
Right. Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's not a good sign when it's only old heads and no new
No,
heads, because that
when you
means
have all those,
right,
yeah,
right.
exactly.
that
Because
Yeah.
means-
it's,
that
it's
means
top
they're not,
generations, right?
Yeah.
That means they didn't reach the other.
Yeah. No.
You know what I
No.
mean? They
That's
didn't reach
true.
that status,
That's true. I
so.
guess. Yeah. I'll give you that. You know, because I said this like Queen.
Yeah,
Queen.
yeah.
Queen.
Great rock.
When they play that, was it Live Aid?
Live Aid. Yeah.
And you know, he's just like, damn.
That was one of the most.
I
famous.
watched that, bro. I saw that
remember that.
live happening.
I
I
remember
know,
that.
and
Yeah.
when you watch that, like
Yeah.
how he was able to like
Yeah.
move the
He
crowd
had that
like
place
that.
rocking, man.
He played the
bro.
crowd like an instrument.
Yeah, he did.
It was
and you could see them
crazy.
all moving like yo.
They were loving
was-
it. They were loving
Listen, like I said, watching it live, like you know, everybody's
I
seen
still
the
get
movie.
chills thinking about it
Yeah,
right now.
because you've seen the movie. People who've seen, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, it was, you know, it's like wow, that was kind of moving. When you saw that thing live,
We
bro,
saw it
as it was
live.
going, I saw it live.
I saw it live.
I saw it live. Well, not there. It was
No,
streamed
it
on
was,
TV.
It was on
Yeah,
TV, but
pay-per-view.
we watched it.
Oh my God, bro. That was insane. Everybody was a Queen fan, bro. Everybody knew Bohemian Rhapsody.
All those bands that
you
were
know?
there.
Yeah. It
Those
was
people were
insane,
having
bro.
all
It was
their life.
freaking great. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's only, but you're right. I guess you're right, Lou. I didn't mean to take that away
Those-
from
those-
anybody.
those
That's the
are big.
platinum records and stuff.
Those are big.
But, you know,
For those bands, especially even now, I think they still get them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know what I
Mhm.
mean. So, yeah, no, those guys they welcome that stuff.
Mhm.
You know, when you get that, that means that's how many you sold. That's how
Yeah.
many people are listening
Mhm.
to you. I think now it might be different because music is. I don't know how it sells. It sells
as I was
differently
going to
now.
say now, I was going to say the
Now
same
it's
thing.
different. It doesn't. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and how they if they rank it that way anymore.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Because you know now people could just take other people's music and add their shit to it. You know, and
So I'm wondering if it's like, let's say, how many downloads.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm wondering if that's how it works. I'm not sure.
Right.
I want to say that sounds familiar, but how many downloads and you know it is for that you get, how many times it's played, and there's a like or whatever.
Yeah.
how we
what I
doing
mean?
out there? Instagram.
Instagram.
Anything happening? No.
Well,
It's
I
just
mean,
Mike-
we didn't really make an announcement. I think
Yeah.
what we're gonna do though is we're gonna make an announcement.
No, it's cool that we did it for the
For
first
now,
time.
we
were
did
just
this
checking it out.
impromptu, but
Yeah, this super impromptu.
I think we're gonna do this
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. This was
every-
fun.
bi
This is fun,
bi-weekly.
man.
You know?
Yeah.
And we look forward to doing it to the next time. And we will make the announcement. Yes, we just kind of did it on the fly because we were like, hey, why don't we give it a shot and just see what happens?
Yeah.
So that's why we did it. It was
We
fun
gotta
to
do it
hook it
too.
up and check it out. So.
Yeah, we gotta send it to all our personal friends and stuff.
Yeah, everybody
Spread the
nice
word.
listen to us.
Spread
We're
the
going by
word.
doing our Instagram.
The Warriors.
Live.
Yeah,
I was watching the Warriors. The
Warriors.
Yeah. Even that movie, there was a bunch of songs in that movie that, that fit.
And that was the thing too, though. Remember? Movies, soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like Forrest
that
Gump
nerve.
had a great soundtrack.
Yeah. Yep.
Movies that had
Good Morning Vietnam.
Right. All that.
Great movie.
That was a way good one.
All those movies
Bro,
that had that.
Juice. For me, Juice.
Oh.
The movie Juice. Oh, dude. To me, that's one of the greatest movie soundtracks, out there. Blues Brothers. You know what I mean?
Prince.
Juice. That was
Purple
a good
Rain.
Purple
one.
Rain.
Yeah.
Prince, Purple Rain, man.
I thought
Prince
it
was
was
the man.
Chappelle.
Yeah.
This was shit.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson.
Listen, my boy Eddie and my sister Kendra, they're gonna turn around and be like, "You didn't say this one. You didn't say that one." Like, yo,
Yeah,
this is so
I know.
many.
We're probably missing a whole
Yeah,
bunch.
missing a
You
whole
know what?
shitload of 'em.
You guys need to be participating.
Yeah.
Help us out.
They didn't know.
You know what I'm
Next
saying?
time,
So many
next
good
time.
soundtracks.
Yeah, she gonna yell me.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "All right, I should have told
You
me."
know what's a good? You know what's a
That's what
good?
she would
You know
say.
what's a good soundtrack? Dazed and Confused.
That
Yeah.
is a
That's a good
great
They
soundtrack.
had a lot
Yup.
of good music.
I used to have that freaking soundtrack on CD, man. Dude.
Pink Floyd, too.
Yeah.
When they did Off the Wall. You know, The Wall?
Yeah, The Wall.
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
The
great.
movie was sick.
Yeah.
Because the whole soundtrack to that
Yeah,
was
went
part of
to
that
thing.
movie.
Yeah. Dude,
Yes,
it's awesome.
we were stoned when we went to see it.
You
Oh,
had
yeah.
to be,
Right, we
bro.
were.
Hell yeah.
Huh?
You had-
Hell yes.
Hell
Hell
yeah.
yes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I was thinking of that's from Big Daddy.
Yeah.
The guy in court.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's freaking great.
This is
But-
fun, man.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a great one.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, we're gonna end up having to do this topic again though, because
And
I said when we let more people
I
know about
was
it.
behind the screen
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom's
Hello,
Guys over there.
everybody.
behind the scenes this
Yeah.
time. It's just Kenny and I, but all three of us are still chatting.
Yeah,
That's it.
just you can't see me.
Yeah.
That's right. He's invisible.
Yeah.
The invisible Jersey
Invisible
guy.
the boo.
Yeah.
The invisible
Yes.
Jersey guy.
Too funny. But yes, thank you all for joining us. I said we're gonna repeat the live.
Yep.
So
Hell
thank y'all for
yeah.
being here. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Live long and prosper.
And go vegan.
Holla.
Rock on, tune in, follow us for more Music Mania.